Hola, damas y caballeros. This lesson, we're going to be dealing with two new verbs, tener and the verb ir. We're going to use tener, which means to have, for another purpose that we will explain further on in the lesson. And the verb ir, which means to go. So we're going to be going places. So we'll be getting the forms of ir as well as the forms of tener, plus places, plus means of transportation. And we will have un repaso of several things that we've covered recently in class. The verb estar is used in fewer circumstances. We had told you initially that it was for feelings, and then we added location. So if you're telling where someone is located, as opposed to where they're from is origin, and that is ser. But if you're talking about where they are located, you're going to use estar. If you're talking about how someone feels, as opposed to what they look like or what their personality is, you will use the verb estar, the correct form of the five that are available. So tener often means to have, such as to have a book, to have enough food, etc. And you would have five forms of tener to express the idea of to have. But there are certain expressions in which we use tener to explain how people feel. Because we're talking about how people feel, that's another way to say that is how they are. And are is, of course, a form of to be. So we're saying that these tener expressions are another way to express in Spanish the verb to be, but only in these special circumstances. Tener usually means to have. And you will soon see that tener is different than the regular verbs. Comer is a regular verb. We talked about the five endings, but we notice that you take comer, C-O-M. C-O-M does not change in any of these. You keep that same format of the infinitive, and then you just change the ending. Look at the five forms of tener, however, we see something strange going on with the yo form. You add a go ending, and then we have what are called stem changing steps. in which you change the T-E-N to T-I-E-N. And then you put on your regular ER verb endings that we've already learned for a verb like comer or beber. And we use the regular endings. What is irregular is what you do to the stem, changing from E to IE. And you want to, I want to call attention to the fact that the stem changing happens only in the to the LA, yeah, usted, and in the plural ellos, ellas, ustedes. It does not change in nosotros, so that's just like comer, tenemos, comemos. And then we have the weird thing happening with go in the yo form. So these are all the things you have to remember. You just have to learn them to be able to use this particular verb, very common verb, correctly. And as you use it more, like anything, you will get more adept at doing so. Tener prisa. Tener prisa. So I'm going to take that and put it in a sentence. Mario tiene, conjugating the verb tener, changing the stem, putting on the E ending because it's Mario. Mario tiene prisa en la escuela. Mario tiene prisa en la escuela, at school. Tener razón, tener razón. Mi esposa siempre tiene razón. Mi esposa, my wife, siempre, always, tiene razón. Tener miedo, tener miedo. Tener sueño, tener sueño. Tener cuidado, tener cuidado. Tener hambre, tener hambre. Tener sed, tener sed. Tener suerte, tener suerte. Tener frío, tener frío. Yo tengo frío en el invierno. Yo tengo frío en el invierno. Calor. Tener calor. Ella tiene calor en el verano. Ella tiene calor en el verano. We use tener ganas to feel like, often with a verb after de in the infinitive. So we say something like, yo tengo ganas de trabajar, which is literally I feel like working. Tengo ganas de trabajar. So we can pull out trabajar and put in, if you feel like eating, yo tengo ganas de comer. And we express the age with the tener expression and then the years. We don't use a form of ser. We don't say yo soy 15 as we do in English. I am 15. You say yo tengo 15 años. Yo tengo 15 años. In this lesson, we will use the 5 forms of the verb go, ir, to express a place where we're going. So we will be learning some vocabulary for places. We'll show you how to do that. And then eventually at the end, we'll teach you how to say how you're traveling, modes of transportation. So you can combine those 3 things. It is definitely an irregular verb, whereas hablar, comer, and the other verbs we had learned up to tener are regular verbs. So we have to learn what these special changes are for the verb ir. Ir has boy, which may remind us of soy, as we had in ser in the yo form. But then it acts like it's an AR verb. You'll notice these endings, these 4 remaining endings, are just like the endings you used for hablar, caminar, trabajar, for the regular AR verbs, even though ir is not an AR verb. La ciudad, la ciudad. El hospital, el hospital. Remember the H is silent in Spanish always. El banco, el banco. Note that banco is a place, but it is also a noun, so it will be either masculine or feminine. Banco happens to be masculine, that's why we have el here. La ciudad is feminine, and that will become important. Whether these nouns are masculine or feminine will become important as we put sentences together. La iglesia, la iglesia, la tienda, la tienda is any type of store or shop. El centro comercial, el centro comercial. I'm going to combine the previous tienda slide and say in this sentence, en el centro comercial hay muchas tiendas. En el centro comercial hay, which is there is or there are, muchas tiendas. There are 2 ways to say school. La escuela, la escuela, el colegio, el colegio. And colegio is not college. Another silent H. El hotel. El hotel. El parque. El parque. El restaurante. El restaurante. El cine. El cine. La biblioteca. La biblioteca. La panaderia. La panaderia. I'm going to call attention to the suffix eria here. Anytime you see that suffix in Spanish, eria, it's indicating some sort of store or business establishment where something is made or done, sold, etc. It's a you put it with words that indicate whatever the specialty of that store might be. For example, here the specialty happens to be pan, but you have other types of stores where you use this eria, and for example, carniceria is a place where they sell carne. That would be another example. So you will be out and about in Latin America or Spain, and you will see that suffix, and you know that that's indicating a store. La universidad. La universidad. Casa. Casa. Casa is home or house. Some example sentences. María va a la biblioteca. María va a la biblioteca. Tú vas a la iglesia. Tú vas a la iglesia. Ella va al banco. Ella va al banco. Yo voy al restaurante. And we need to talk about what we do here. When the place is feminine, like biblioteca and iglesia in the first two sentences, we say a la. When the place, banco, restaurante, in these two cases, is masculine, you you combine a plus el. It becomes what is a contraction. It is a contraction in Spanish without without an apostrophe, and they give you no choice in the matter. So every time in a sentence a and el might come together, you have to say al. So ella va al, not a el, like we do a la, no. Al banco, yo voy al restaurante. One special circumstance. A means to, by the way. That's what we're doing here. A, to, the is ala, and to the, if it's masculine, is al. There is one case in which we don't use the article, the definite article. We just say voy a casa, not voy a la casa. Voy a casa. Ella va a casa. And the next few slides are just giving us some ways to travel, to go to these places that we've just learned. So, el avión, el avión, carro, el carro, el coche, el coche, la bicicleta, la bicicleta, which gets shortened to la bici, as we do bike, la bici or la bicicleta. El tren. El tren. El bus. El bus. El metro. El metro. A pie. A pie. Which literally means on foot or by foot. A pie. And 3 sample sentences here. María va en coche. María va en coche. Ellos van en avión. Ellos van en avión. Vamos en bici. Vamos en bici. And then at the end of these, we could add a destination. For example, María va en coche a la biblioteca. María va en coche a la biblioteca. Ellos van en avión a Cuba. Ellos van en avión a España. Nosotros vamos en bici a la tienda. Nosotros vamos en bici a la tienda. For exercise, you would say a sentence like this. Yo voy a pie. Yo voy a pie. And then if you wanted to add a destination, you could say, yo voy a pie al hospital. Yo voy a pie a casa. Just a few more sample sentences. Ustedes van. So we're putting the form of ir in the correct form based on ustedes. Ustedes van al banco, al because it's masculine, the place, en carro. Ustedes van al banco en carro. Tú vas a la universidad en bus. Tú vas a la universidad en bus. Yo voy a casa en tren. Yo voy a casa en tren. Our key questions here that deal with the set of vocabulary that we've learned in this lesson is ¿A dónde vas? ¿A dónde vas? Where are you going? And the response, voy al banco. Voy al banco. And ¿Cómo vas? ¿Cómo vas? How are you going? How are you going? How are you going to get there? Voy en bici. Voy en bici.